Hey guys, TCD Matt coming at you with a Chainsword Diaries special edition Deepercuts today. I'm really lucky to be joined by our super talented painting crew from Shades of War Painting. Representing the new Chainsword Diaries painting service, I've got Jaci and I've got Andrew. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So tell me a little bit about what brought you into 40K. Jaci, let's start with you. How'd you get into the game?
Honestly, Andrew did. I actually didn't know anything about the 40K. He plays the video game version of it. Happened to find out there's a Games Workshop, and we went in on Armies of Parade last year. And I was hooked when they told us that I got hooked when they told me I could paint my army.
That's awesome. It's really cool to see people who fall in love just because they get the ability to customize their army, and it just shows how many different ways there are to love the game. It's really cool to hear that, though, and what a great introduction, Armies on Parade. And we're going to get back to that here in a little bit. But Andrew, so how long have you been playing 40K, man?
Oh, man, I mean, I started out playing the video games, I started playing Dawn of War and Space Marine and all that, but we got into it last year, October. We went in just on a chance the one day. I mean, I had been looking into it, and I never really knew how the game was played, so it was kind of more or less like an experiment for me. But as soon as we got into the store, it was just, I had to have it. It was one of those things where I saw the models, and I saw people playing it, and it just seemed like a great community kind of to get into, and it just seemed more or less the type of thing that I wanted to do as a hobby. I just love the Space Marine lore and just the whole violence of the 41st millennium and all that. It's one of those things where you look at it from afar and you're like, oh, it's kind of nerdy, but it's super awesome, and you can't really get away from that.
It's the best kind of nerdy.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. So, and then a little bit of background on how we met. We run 40K Mondays, and we actually here at Immortals Inc. And we actually started up a second day, and you guys came in, and Jaci brought in her amazing Chaos Army, and Andrew and I got a game in with his Dark Angels.
Yep.
And that was just an eye-opening. I was completely blown away by how well you guys had painted your armies and the look that you had. Getting back to that Games Workshop store, Jaci, you had a pretty eventful weekend this weekend.
I did. I was actually the only person who have a Death Guard army in the Armies of Parade. Everybody was very impressed that I was able to get my Death Guard army ready to go for it just because of how many things have been released. And apparently Bill, over there, the owner of the Games Workshop where the Army Parade was, loved my Typhus, and I was like, awesome, because he came out so good.
Yeah, your Typhus is amazing. I am absolutely jealous. I love my old school Typhus, but I would definitely let your Typhus lead my army anytime. He's definitely got that rock and roll pose, and I know there's a lot of haterade on the internet going around about that Typhus pose, but I am one of those people that he is just so metal and so awesome.
He really is.
It's just everything that I love about Chaos.
Seeing him in that pose makes me be like, okay, I don't want to mess with him.
Typhus is the ultimate. I don't want to get caught in a dark alley with this guy.
Yep.
You painted up G's Mortarion, which is amazing.
Yes. He gave me a little bit of a challenge because he didn't want his normal Death Guard green, but he picked a great gray color that basically looks brown, and it matches the theme that he wants to go with his Death Guard army. And it was actually really nice just to paint him in general with those colors, and it just came out really good.
As much as I hate the Imperium, and I do hate the Imperium,
Yep.
I love your Dark Angels army, especially your flyer. We got some shots that'll be up, like I said, and man, that flyer, the weathering on that thing is so phenomenal. And so what was Dark Angels the first army that you fell in love with?
Yeah, I mean, I really love the lore and, the First Legion and everything. I loved everything about it. The green was definitely a big thing for me. I love the dark green, the forest green color. It's dark. I mean, it's supposed to be the dark future, you know?
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with the colors and the weaponry and all that stuff, and like the plasma weaponry. I mean, that's another thing for me. I mean, Dark Angels, you know, they're good with the plasma. That's their thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I love to paint it too. That's another thing. It's, if I didn't love painting it, I wouldn't be doing it. But I put a lot of time and effort into those Dark Angels, and I want them to look as crisp and clean and as brutal as they possibly can on that battlefield.
And it's so funny to see, you two hanging out, because for every clean line and perfectly painted face that you're bringing in, Jackie is bringing some corroded, just nasty looking Death Guard.
Yep.
And it just you're I'm gonna have to say it now, and you're probably not going to want to hear it, but I think you're the queen of slime. You have you've mastered that.
And that's really what got me into going towards chaos. I've always been a fan of just like the zombies, the death and decaying. And when I think the first thing I was looking at was probably Tau, just because of I just like how like robotic it looked. And then the further down I went, as soon as I hit chaos, never looked back.
And for those of you who can't see on the radio right now, and nobody can see on the radio, total chaos fist bump. Because she obviously is playing the game right. No Imperial lapdogs. We've finally outnumbered the Imperial side in the room, and I have to say it's pretty awesome. But what armies are you kind of excited to paint coming out on the horizon? We've got a few coming out.
I am super stoked to paint some NIDs, for sure. I have a really gnarly looking color scheme I have planned for them, and the new box set is just incredible. It's amazing. It's got such good models in it, and I love how they look. They look so nasty and primal and brutal and just gory, and I just want to be able to paint them to make them look even more evil.
Yeah.
But I'm super stoked to paint some NIDs. I would love to start a Sigmar army as well at some point in time, but right now I definitely want the NIDs to be my next primary focus. I do have a Death Watch army in the works, but that's going to be a minute.
Yeah, I think every Imperial player has a Death Watch army on the back burner.
Honestly, I can't really speculate on what I'm really excited for, because I just love chaos. I just can't look away from it. And Andrew tells me, like, you should be doing something else. You should be doing this. I'm like, I just like chaos. I like everything about it. But I am interested in the Eldar. I like everything that they have, especially the Harlequins, of course, because they're all colorful and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely love to paint some Tyranids too, because that would just look really awesome. And
in normal chaos style, I'm going to go ahead and put a bug in your ear and say that demons are coming out after Christmas. So I think I know what you might be painting next.
Yeah, honestly, that's why I just can't get away from chaos. You know, like Death Guard came out, and they're still not even done releasing everything else that they have. That's at least in the book,
right?
You know, in the codex. And, we're just waiting for that. And then when you mentioned about the demons, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm not leaving chaos, which is fine. Yeah.
So I think that the new GW has done a lot to bring people in. I think they're doing a lot to keep people, too, with the responsiveness that they have with the new rules. And you brought up a good point, though, and this is something that the reason that we're kind of bringing you on is we like to make the hobby accessible to everybody. So, if somebody who doesn't like to paint and doesn't like to have doesn't like to construct their models and kind of design their army, you guys offer a pretty reasonable service to bring that fully painted experience to the tabletop.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking to charge an arm and a leg for models. I mean, this is more or less about going out and having fun. We're trying to grow the community, because honestly, like, we've seen this community grow immensely in the past, like, I don't know, a couple months since we've met you guys, and it's been incredible. I mean, we've made more friends here than we could have ever possibly thought to have imagined. But I mean, we're looking to paint other people's models. If you're not interested in spending the time and the hours or whatever to paint up your models or build them or do all sorts of other stuff, but hey, send them to us. We'll paint them up. We'll make them look pretty. We'll make you the stellar star on the tabletop. That's what we're looking for right now.
Absolutely. And you know, it's really nice that you guys offer everything from kind of the 3-color standard to your own signature models, you know, that Mortarian level for you, Jackie, and some of your characters that you have, Andrew, where especially your dreadnoughts are really phenomenal.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into my dreadnoughts. I have a lot of thought behind them and how I want them to look, and each one I want to have their own individual story. Like, why does he look like that? Why does he have that heraldry? Why does he have that helmet? Anything like that. I mean, even my new Redemptor, like, I put so much time into that. I put so much time into that. And each line, each brush stroke, I mean, it's all got emotion behind it for me. I mean, that's mine. I want it to look beautiful. I want people to come and pick it up and stare at it and be in awe of how it looks. I mean, it's really nice for me because I haven't been able to do something like this in a long time. So it's really awesome that I can spread the joy for everybody else too. Like, that's another big thing, is I want everybody else to be happy with what they have.
Right. And we take the time and the effort to make everybody's models like that. Like with G's, for example, he's doing that whole city theme, made his Terminators look like hazmat suit. And I mean, the yellow wasn't really easy to work with, but, you know, I made sure that it was something that he was going to like. And when he got it, he was very, very happy with it. And, you know, we do put in the time to make it just like how you would want your army to be.
Willing to work with pretty much whatever you guys want. Like, that's the main goal, is we want you to be happy as a customer and not just, you know, as a player. We want you to be in love with the paint scheme that you thought of personally, and we want to be able to bring it to life on your models. Like, that's another thing. I mean, even if you don't have a lot to work with, even if it's just a reference picture, I mean, we'll work with what we can do, and we will make them look as close to that as you want. That's another thing that we're striving to do, is bring out the best in our painting and also put them forth towards everybody else's models.
Some of the strengths that you guys bring to the table, Andrew, you're really strong with weathering, and can you talk a little bit about that for the people who are into the hobby side of things? How do you achieve that kind of weathered look that you're?
I like to think of a war-torn vehicle as much as I possibly can. It's more or less like I draw a lot of my inspiration from old World War II tanks or old fighter planes from that era, because if you take a look at them, they're not shiny and new. They're not even close. They're mud-caked. They're soot-ridden from the guns firing. They're covered in rust and blood and just everything you could possibly think of. I want that to reflect on my models. I don't want my tanks to be rolling out onto the field and looking all nice and shiny. That's not what they're there for. They're out there to cause death and destruction, and they're supposed to look ugly. They're going to look good, but they're going to look like they've been through hell.
Jackie, you really have kind of dug into the viscera of the Death Guard and Plague Marines.
Yeah, I was just, as soon as they were going to release that, and I read into more of the lore about it, I just loved everything about it, like how dirty and gross and all the, the slime coming out of them. I was really hooked into it, and like the Poxwalkers are probably my favorite, just because, they're just all deformed and gross, and like they have all those sores. So like I made like the goo come out of that, and it became a strength. I didn't realize, like, when I started painting them, that I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at making them look gross.
I'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and we're going to offer a special to those people who are listening to this interview today. For the first 5 orders that come in, we're going to offer a 10% discount to the overall price of the order. So make sure that if you'd like to have your army painted, let's say you've got a big event coming up. I know Adepticon's right around the corner. Everybody's looking at that. Las Vegas Open is not that far away either. You guys are going to be at Las Vegas.
We will be there.
Yep.
Wearing your TCD shirts,
Yep.
rocking it out for Chainsword Diaries. We appreciate that. But if you've got something coming up, you've got an army idea in your head that you're looking to have done, we will paint everything from a character all the way out to an apocalypse level army if you so choose. So just shoot us an email at thechainsworddiaries@gmail.com. We'll be happy to show you some pricing, give you some examples of the paint, and let you know what your quote would be for the individual levels that you're looking to paint. Thanks and have a great night, guys.